You can now follow me on all my social media platforms to find out who my latest guest will be. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and the notifications button so you're notified for when my next podcast goes live.
Well, I was right to court and then came back up and went and got 12 months Young Offenders Institution and next door to the detention centre in Glenorchy. And that's where I met a whole load of crazy fuckers. One in particular that stands out was James O'Neill, Neely. His full title was Neely the Bomb. He was always making fucking improvised explosive devices with matches and gas canisters, and my job was then to phone the newspapers to tell them the demands. So I'm waiting in the queue to phone the newspapers, and heard a scream going up, and Jock Donaldson standing at the top of the fucking stairs with a blade at the screw's neck. He says, I used the sauce bottle, put black tape on it, held it upside down like a grenade. I don't know if it's a one-off, but I don't know many airplanes or anybody that's fucking put black tape on it.
So he
looked like one of the German grenades.
Aye,
that's what he's done it with. And he pulled me aside and gave me some tobacco and said, you have to go in the exercise yard tomorrow. I went, yeah. To see who? The IRA. And in Charlie Bronson's mind is because he's hijacked an airplane, it would then follow that he can fly a helicopter. Doesn't work like that.
Two different separate things.
So he told him if he didn't get the cheeseburgers, he was going to start eating the hostages. Mad. And a lot of people turn around and think, oh, that's a glamorous life, is it? You sit in, doesn't matter what prison you're in or you're getting a visit, the minute your family walk up, sit up for that table at the end of the visit and walk away, you're fucked.
Boom, we're on.
Good, James.
Let's get the guest that everybody's wanted back, Mr. Paul Ferris.
Thanks, James.
How are you?
I'm fine. Yourself?
Really good, mate. Really good. Cracking gaff.
Nice country feel.
Yeah, love it. Our last podcast is nearly at 1 million views. Two scheme boys talking. It's mega. Everybody's wanted you back. I think a lot of people understand your background. You've wrote countless books, got a film out there about you. You've been bullied, you got revenge, involved in one of the biggest unsolved murders in Scottish history. But now here you are, again, part 2. We've no spoke how we're going to take this conversation either, but we're just going to take it on a journey. But I'd like to touch on all the prisons you've been in. Yep. You've been in 10 different prisons. Yep. No doubt you've met a lot of fascinating characters.
Just a touch.
You spent over 15 years in a jail. So I want to go right back to the first jail you were in, and why.
First one was Ballini as a young offender. It was one of these situations in Blackhill. The older boys was nicking the cars, taking a chase, and then abandoning them. So we get settings on the car. And this occasion, I didn't even go to drive. I couldn't even drive. I just happened to jump in the driver's seat. Cops there nicked. So I get charged for car theft. And when I explained to the solicitor, who was a court-appointed solicitor at the time, Peter Forbes, he asked me the whole story about it. And when I've told him that I never stole the car, told him the circumstances, he said, well, you plead not guilty to this. And as I done that, I get remanded, got took to Ballini, went into D Hall, top flat, where they kept the young offenders. And I remember looking out the window, because you had to go and stand on the or somebody to help you up, and I could see parts of Blackhill, and I was fucking devastated, thinking, how did I end up in here? I was in there for 2 or 3 days until they move you. They come down and collect you and take you up along again. But during the process of being on remand and Ballini young offenders at that stage, there was somebody else in there, a young offender, that was going trial. I think it was to do with a death. He was up for killing his boyfriend, the girlfriend's the boyfriend. The two of them were seeing each other. I never knew the circumstances. It was just somebody came to the door, the prison door, and asked for some tobacco. But it was no a polite request. It was like, you got fucking tobacco in there. So I fucked him off anyway. I'd enough with kind of the bullying in that stage. So no, it's not happening in prison. So the guy who was in me, he came from Blackhill as well, and he said, watch him, he's liable to come in the morning, have this, I got a toothbrush with a couple of razor blades melted into it, and I had it under my pillow in my bunk. And sure enough, next morning, this guy came in, and it turns out he was a fucking amateur boxer. Amateur boxer, and I'm laughing because I got 3 rapid and I never knew it. Boom, boom, boom. And then I ended up in the bottom bunk and just remembered, fuck, I've got this, which was an equaliser. So he got badly cut and flung out the door, and the alarm went off because I never knew he was at trial. So he went to trial with quite a lot of damage on him. And everybody else got moved to Long Again, and I get kept there for the investigation. And they thought I was involved in a love triangle. I never knew the guy, never knew what he was up for. So when I ended up going to Longer Again, which is the second one, they came down on the bus to pick you up for Ballina. And I knew something was wrong. I'd never been in Longer Again before, but I get put right into a place called the Dog Leg. And they call it a dog leg because that's the handmade type thing. It was all ex-military screws that run it. So at a very early age, I get put into the Dog Leg as a potential troublemaker. And then for the Dog Leg, you used to get down to the dining hall, get your food. And that's where I met Paul Hanlon for the first time, Joe Hanlon's brother. And there was a revenge thing going on with some other prisoners that were in there. And it all kicked off, and I'm standing there with a steel tray, and somebody's had a go at Big Paul. So I threw the steel tray to hit this guy, and it drifted off like a fucking boomerang. Hot screw right in the side of the head. And I thought I got away with it until the cook, who was also a screw, was behind the servery. He looked at me and said, I've fucking seen that. And I've had a few kickings in my time, but this was just something special.
What age were you, Paul?
What, that? 16, 17.
Did that make you hate the authorities?
No, I just thought I shouldn't have thrown through the tray. Mm-hmm. But what had happened was, when it kicks off like that, all the screws run in because the riot bell goes off. So you've got a screw holding one arm, another screw holding another arm, and then you're elevated. One's got your leg, the other one's got your leg. And I remember hearing something and then a massive pain. You couldn't see nothing. It's as though you're floating in air. Your face is done in about 3 feet off the ground. And this other screw ran right up behind me and kicked me right in the bollocks, like a penalty kick. And I remember something going off in my head with this fucking pain. I can't remember too much after it, but it was a fucking sore one. And so that just put us into us and them scenario. Mm-hmm. That they were grown men bashing young boys like that up. Mm-hmm. But I suppose you get involved in things, you go to fucking take it as
you
it
live and
goes.
learn, mate, but you never learned your lesson till later on in life.
No, I was a slow starter, but it's something like that you always remember. You can remember that pain. So.
And you went to Glencoe after Longer Again?
No, I ended up getting a social inquiry report. Reg Mackay, he was the senior social worker for Black Hill and that surrounding area. Mm-hmm. And I think because of my honesty and told them, like, somebody else nicked the car and we were there and we were getting seconds on the car. So technically I never stole it, but you still get charged for car theft. So whatever report he put in, it worked because I got admonished until I get nicked again.
Who was your lawyer?
Peter Forbes.
Was he alright?
He was a court-appointed solicitor, and I had no need for a solicitor at the time. My dad, he was in prison for bank robbery at the time, so I never had any male members of the family or uncles to tell me this is the family solicitor or whatever. You know, it's a court-appointed solicitor, and I kept with Peter Forbes right through it. So.
You done a year in Glencoe after that. What was that for?
I'd done a year in Glencoe. The first sentence I went to Glencoe was...
That was in 81?
Was for an assault and robbery with Gio Redmond, another local guy from Black Hill. And it was an assault and robbery in Airdrie, where a night safe bag was to get deposited in a night safe, and we took it before they could put it in. But unfortunately, where we were running, we never knew the whole area. I was running towards Airdrie police station, and I get bundled to the ground like a rugby tackle.
Were you fast?
And walked 100 yards into the cops.
Were you fast?
I thought I was fast, but I wasn't that fucking fast. Right, and it turns out that this guy I don't know how fast he was, but he was in a rugby team. And all I remember was getting bundled to the ground. So we get nicked for that, and I ended up getting sent to Glencoe for the short, sharp shock and it was a fucking short, sharp shot.
So what is that for people who don't know?
It's a military type regime. You're not allowed to talk until you're spoken to. Loads of discipline, and for me, what I can remember is it's like being a young guy with blinkers on until you end up in somewhere like that and your blinkers are off and you just need to get your head down and get on with it. But it was hard, James, because there's a funny part of it when we were all held in the cell at the Sheriff Court, Glasgow Sheriff Court, and it became apparent that everybody in the cell was going to the detention centre. And we were all running about the same age, but there was this one guy with a moustache that we thought, oh, he's a man. What's he doing in here? Turns out he was under 21. He's going to detention centre. So he took the lead in the cell by saying, we're all going to this detention centre. We've all heard about it. And I never really heard about it. I'm listening to him. He's the gang fucking leader, isn't he? The guy with the moustache, the big man. And he's instructing us all, nobody march. It's only for 3 months, and we'll spend our time in the segregation unit and fuck the marching, and we're doing nothing. We're rebels, and we're all going, yeah. So that took place until the cell door opened, and then you've got a prison officer with a list of names, and you get called out. And luckily for me, I was called out quite quickly, but I was handcuffed to 2 different people, which meant I sit at the back of the bus. So as they fill up the bus, the gang leader with the moustache, I don't even know his name, he's kind of halfway down the bus. I'm near the front of the bus, and it's all that dreaded journey on a single decker bus, because I used to gun them with my dad. My dad owned 2 buses, so I was familiar with but I had the bird's eye view. I'm sitting at the back seat, and then it just dawns on you when the gates open. You think, oh fucking hell, what is this?
Were you worried or anything?
I'm not so much worried. I'm probably apprehensive for the unknown, because you don't know. You hear all these stories about fucking what goes on, and whatever you hear about what goes on, it's actually worse than when it happens. So the bus pulls in, and all you hear, nobody talks. It's just shouting and bawling. Right, fucking listen for your name, and so everybody all sat and quiet. And within the first 3 or 4 names, Big Johnny Bravo with a moustache, he's called off the bus. Right, march. Refused to march. Couple of slaps, and he was marching, but he wasn't marching. He was trying to march. Kicked up the arse right into reception. So that was a kind of thing for us to go, oh, the leader's marching. So next name they shouted, stop fucking off the bus. And I remember the first time, because I was hungry. And in the detention centre there was loads of food, chips and different things like that, and I remember sitting at the table making a sandwich with chips. I never even get a bite out of it. Just about eat this sandwich, and there was a big Aberdonian screw, slapped it right out my hand and screaming at me, there'll be no chip butties here, laddie. He got up, dragged me up like that. So he sat down in the chair, feet together, ankles together, knife and fork, half the chip, take half the chip, and then a slice of part of the bread. That's how you've eaten in here. And I thought, fucking hell, man, where have I just landed?
So what does that do to the Wiles? Is that trying to discipline them?
It's discipline. What the whole element here, it was actually a programme for, they were downgrading the Borstal. The Borstal was 18 months. The discipline was too long. So what they called it was a short, sharp shock, was to frighten the life out of people who are coming in on the hope that they're not going to commit any more offences. But I'd already been frightened as a kid anyway in Black Hill. So the fear element was gone. But I had to understand, what do I do? How do I cope with this fucking new environment? And maybe about 6 or 7 years, we never even had a hair on our face, and we had to shave in the morning. And one of the things was, you get a command in the morning, bar your doors. So you have to go out and stand in the hallway with a pair of shorts on, slippers, a towel over your left hand, your plastic mug and your toothpaste and toothbrush, and march single file down into what we call the ablutions. I thought, ablutions? What the fuck's ablutions? It's the toilets, but it's all military grade.
Sounds like fucking dancing.
So, and I remember this other ginger-headed Irish screw, Northern Irish screw, And as you go into the ablutions, the toilets, razor. So he's getting Peter razor. Came to me, razor, and I went, no thanks. Poof. Slap right in the side of the head. Razor. No thanks. Again, you stand there. Somebody else came down. Razor. No thank you, sir. And I thought, all right, that's what you have to say. No thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. So he's went, razor. I went, no thank you, sir. And he's went, you fucking will. It was like that Tango advert now, years ago. Somebody's done it.
Slapped.
And it was like multiple, it's like an octopus hitting you. He's something out the Matrix, it's that fast. And it's only when I looked in the mirror, I kept the plastic thing on the razor and kidding on, I'm shaving, but I've got these big red hand ulsters all on my fucking face and my body. And I thought, oh, I need to pick my gear up here. I need to be switched on, I need to be in tune with all this. So apparently you go for there and then down to breakfast, and then for breakfast to the gymnasium, and then the sports field where you've got to try and get a mile on. And I used to run cross country for the school when I was at school, but I'd forgot I'd done a 3 months remand lying on my fucking bed, didn't I? So when I volunteered, I used to do some cross country running.
Did you have a tool every jail you were in?
A what?
Did you always have a tool on you?
I know that one. I learned after that one. You get time to get a tool. The only tool was me. I was a fucking tool. We're all tools. They had total command.
Did they?
No conversations with anybody at all.
What was the conviction rate of boys reoffending again? Was it high then, or was it shorter?
I'm not too sure. I think it fucking frightened the life out of quite a lot of them.
Do you think it was enough, or do you think it made you rebel?
No, it's something for me. I'd already been. I was out in bail I was to go up for another charge for a possession of firearm. So when I get released for the detention centre, I was right to court, and then came back up and went and got 12 months. Young Offenders Institution, and next door to the detention centre in Glenorchy. And that's where I met a whole load of crazy fuckers.
Yeah.
One particularly that stands out was James O'Neill, Neely. His full title was Neely the Bomb. He was always making fucking improvised explosive devices with matches and gas canisters, but he ran the whole jail. And
where was he for?
He was for Ballarnock. Quite a big family, a couple of brothers, but Neely was the head of what you would call the jail gang. It was called the Glenorchy Wolves. Specifically targeted sex offenders, because at that time they were mingling, they were in the same association. So in order to get into the Glenorchy Wolves, you needed to do a sex offender, either stab them, slash them, cost them, or scald. Something had to happen to them before you get in. Certain people got a pass. I got a pass because I'd already done detention and I was in for a firearm, so it was a big offence for a young offender. And what I remember of it nearly was kind of strange. He was very clever and manipulative, because I remember one occasion he said, "Come and see this, Paul." He's opened this cell door, and he said to this, obviously it was a sex offender, I didn't know what he was all about. He said, "Show Paul what you're going to do tonight." So he stood on the chair, Neely's got the towel, and the window's open out the way in Glenorchy. So Neely's put the big knot with the towel on it, put it around the boy's neck, and then said, "And you're going to do this later on?" He said, "Aye." He just kicked the chair away from him, left him dangling. I know I'm laughing, I shouldn't laugh, but maybe I should. It was a nonsense anyway. So Neely shut the door, and casually we're going down for our lunch. So we're sitting at the table, and the next thing the alarm bell goes. The guy get cut down, but there was a few people that talked herself, and Neely, God rest him, he's no longer here. Neely was responsible for. There was a Home Office inquiry into the fatalities and the attempted suicides, and if they didn't want to hang themselves, Neely used to give them a blade to see how sharp it was. And if you're serious about being wrong about why you molested that kid or whatever it is, shows how good a deep a cut you can do in your wrist and your ankles, and they done it.
Do you think he killed a few people in there? Not killed them, but made them kill themselves?
He made them kill themselves, but there's a few that survived. So that was my introduction into.
So you were seeing deaths and violence?
I don't think I actually seen the deaths, James, to be honest with you. In my mind, this guy's dead, but whether he did or not, I don't know. But there was a few.
So you used to get the rope, hang them up in a chair, kick
No,
the chair
no,
away?
it was a towel. He split the towel in two with a razor blade and then tie it in knots and then make a noose out of it. But one of the things that he said to us was, in the workshop and the textile industry in Glenorchy, we've seen the ginger Irish screw, Northern Irish screw again. And I've looked at him and I thought, you fucker. That was him that slapped me for no taking the razor properly. Totally different attitude in the young offenders. They don't talk like that, and we never knew any better. So we decided. I told Nearly the story, and he said, "All right, watch us." No, I never knew. I was thinking, watch us. I watched him since he kicked the fucking chair away and left the boy hanging for the nonce hanging for the window. And long after it, there's a bucket of shit that's going to get put over a screw's head, and it did happen. And whoever done it, it was a big eck for Dundee. That was his way into getting into the Glenorchy Wolves. And I know it's disgusting, and it is really disgusting, but so was the way we were treated. And it was a thing where Nearly went, it's amazing what you can do in here, eh? And I remember the noise of the screw pulling the bucket off his, it was like, and he's thrown up and fucking the whole lot of it. And the smell. So that's what I remember about. This is the environment that you're living in.
Yeah.
And knives going missing for the cookhouse. Just devilment every day.
Hellhole. What was it like being mixed with the nonces then? Because obviously now they've got their separate units and separate wings.
We didn't know anybody.
So you didn't know anybody's
we didn't know. So
convictions?
we were just another prisoner. But what tended to happen was you get a couple of decent screws that would mark people's cards and say, watch him, he's a fucking sex offender. And that was Neely's kind of way of dishing out a bit of punishment. Because he always said, well, the kids couldn't do anything for themselves, so we'll fucking do it. And he did, and he didn't miss them.
So you went to Shotts prison in 85 to 86. What was that charge?
Again, that was firearms. I was involved in a situation with a guy called Russell Sturton. I'd already been fitted up in the past, James, so it was nothing new to hear somebody's going to try and fit me up, but this was totally different. Russell Sturton was working with STV Studios on an expose into the drug squad and how they're trying to get him to manipulate and put drugs into my car. I didn't really believe it all at first until I went down to STV Studios, heard what was going on. And then me and Russell had a meeting in Balonlock service station, and one of these coppers was off duty. Obviously seen me talking to Russell, waited till he went away, and he came over and tapped me in the back and said, I'd like to have a word with you. And I said, I knew his face, but I never recognised him without his hat on. He identified he's a cop, and I thought, what the fuck are you talking to me for? But he's making himself out. Watch this guy, he's going to fit you up. So as a cop, tell me what I've already been told by the STV and Russell. So I'm on red alert, James. So I've asked him, I went, look, why are you telling me this? And he made an excuse on the basis that he's looking for a shotgun. I'm thinking, I've got a couple of grand in the house. I'm thinking, I'm going to pay him, because I know they're using recording devices for Russell Sturton, STV's wiring them up. And I thought, I want to get wired up because I need to capture this on tape. They can't believe somebody asking you this or telling you that somebody else is going to fight you up. So you've got a situation there where it was quite clear on the basis that I had a couple of grand, and I thought I'm going to give him 4 or 5 grand to make sure that what he's saying is I can repeat it, I can go and get wired up. But it soon became apparent that the couple of grand was no needed. He was looking for a shotgun. I've already had worth a couple anyway, cost £100 each. So I got to a situation where I thought, all right, I can do this. So I went down to STV Studios, told them what I'm doing. They didn't want nothing to do with it because it's creating a criminal offence, me having a shotgun to go in a meeting. Well, we're a fucking cop and wild up, so they didn't want nothing to do it, so I done it myself. So the charge was, during the whole case, in England they've got a defence called duress, or agent provocateur. In Scotland they've not got it. You've either got a certificate for a shotgun or you've not. I never, so I get 3 years for it. And that's what I went into the prison for the 3 years for not having a firearm certificate.
Was you in YOs still, or were you still...
No, that was me. That was my first adult sentence.
What was that like for you?
Well, second, that was strange. Well, you go for the court back to Ballina, then you're waiting to get moved to Glenorchy, and I'd already done the Glenorchy bit, and the wife, that was actually an adult prison at the time as well. And when I get moved to Shotts, it was a kind of harsh regime, but they were building a new prison. Got to meet a lot of new people in there. And then the new show prison, something happened. There was another guy called John Gallagher, a lifer, who was in there. They come down for Peterhead prison to take over the jails. They never go to take over the jails. They were always very wary of the young crews, and we were part of the young crews at the time. And there was another friend of mine, James McLean, who was in there, and James, he challenged them on the exercise yard because somebody broke into the canteen, and one of these do-gooders for Peterhead that came down demanded that we should surrender to the tobacco and the chocolate and get back to the screws, and we went, fuck yous. So they got offered out on the football pitch. And the strange thing about the football pitch is it was always Celtic supporters versus Rangers supporters. Sometimes 8 aside, sometimes 10 aside, but it was, you always had spectators out to watch it. On this occasion, because it was a challenge, they can't win out. There was 40 of us all sitting tooled up to come out, so they never done it. So right away, you link up with people for young offenders, and there's bonds there that you become part of the prison gang. We're all equal, and we're
Who
all
was
there.
your closest pal?
James, that stage, James McLean. He was in another wing, but I got to know Jim Healy, who was a younger brother of Mick Healy, and there was another guy for Ayrshire, Jock Donaldson, a lifer. And it kicked off one time because John Gallagher got moved, or he asked to get moved, and Jock Donaldson was wanting to take a screw hostage to vent the anger about one of the gang being took away. So I got hold of Jock and I said, what is it you want to do? He says, I'm going to, when the screw comes round and asks what you want, how much you want out your private cash, he said, I'm just going to drag him in the cell and lock the door. I went, right, so that means he's not involved in anybody else. So my job was to make sure he's got enough provisions in there, like bread, rolls, sausage, all these sort of things, chocolate. And my job was then to phone the newspapers to tell them the demands. So I'm waiting in the queue to phone the newspapers, and heard a scream going up, and Jock Donaldson standing at the top of the fucking stairs with a blade at the screw's neck, and 5 or 6 guys that I knew well were doing big sentences. And what I can remember is maybe a year before it, there was a riot in Ballina, and there was a guy called Bongo McLeish who was doing 6 months for shoplifting, got himself involved in the riot in Ballina and got himself 10 years consec on top of 6 months. And I'm looking at these guys that are already doing 10 years and 15 years. They're going to get a hard time with it. So I had to do something. And what I done was, I knew the screw who got held hostage, Hugh Lees. I knew him for the young offenders. He was never violent. He was just an honest, decent guy doing his job. And I was asked to kind of calm things down a bit. But if you do it without written authority, because he's the only authority person in there, he's the only one that can say yes or no. So I wrote a note out on the basis that he's asking me to be a neutral body in the negotiations, which means I'm no for it and I'm no against it. And the reason why I've done it is because I knew about the law on mutiny, what happens on the ship. So you've got a Crown authority, you've got a Crown prison officer that's allowing me to speak on behalf of him and the hostage takers, which turns out worked in my favour, because I ended up going as a witness for all the guys and said I could never have resolved the dispute if it wasn't for them. So I proved that although I get the lawful authority to speak, I couldn't have done it without them, so I then gave them lawful authority through that, so they all get found not guilty, apart from Jock Donaldson, who pled guilty to it anyway. So it was a bit of a fucking scary moment.
Aye. What was that like then for at such a young age, Paul, for ages of 20, 21, getting caught with shotguns, guns, doing all your damage then?
It's just a way of life, James. It was something that you didn't know. I'm not saying try to downplay it and say you didn't know any better. Of course we knew better, but it was just when you're associating with older people. When I say older people, maybe 5 years, 10 year older than us. So you get into a frame of mind where somebody doesn't want to move a shotgun. I was always, I'll do that.
Did you like the buzz for it, Paul?
I liked the fact he'd been involved with a gang at the time. I just liked it.
Did you feel protected?
No, I just felt as though we're all in the same boat.
All bonkers.
All bonkers, basically all bonkers. And the money was not so much relevant, but you always got money, James. But it was just the fact that you're involved with people. That's what I liked.
You went to a prison called Pentonville. What is that? That sounds like something in America.
Pentonville, aye.
What is that?
Fucking, this is a Victorian English replica that's probably worse than fucking Ballini, believe it or not. I get put to Pentonville when I got arrested in 1997. Right for court, right down to the SEG unit in Pentonville, because they don't have category prisoners. I never knew it was own category. I just thought any time I get into a prison, it's usually going into the block anyway. So I just never thought anything about it until somebody gave us a newspaper down there, and that first night I'm sitting reading it. I'm lying in my bed, and I hear this right on the newspaper, and I looked at it, and it was the biggest fucking cockroach you've ever seen. Like, it's like a big thing like that, and it's staring into my face, going. So I went, whoa! So I flicked the newspaper. This thing shot right out of the cell. I've jumped up and seen another two. So I've got my boots on, and I've surrounded the bed with water, thinking I've created a moat. I've got a safe haven. Didn't work. So I've put my trousers in my socks, tissues in my fucking ears, up my nose, and decided I'm having a...
If a screw looked in it, they'd be like, he's losing his shit, man.
I'm having a go with these fuckers, right? So it's like down the river, Dad, stamping your feet, and you've got all these cockroaches, right? So I kicked them behind the cell door, and then next morning the governor comes in and sees you because you're in segregation. And it said to us, "Morning, Ferris." I went, "Morning, Governor. Any complaints?" I went, "Yes, two. You're just in this prison. What's the first one?" I said, "I got porridge this morning and there was sugar in it." He went, "Because you're in England now. You put salt in them in Scotland." I went, "Yeah." He said, "So what's the other one?" I said, "Overcrowding's terrible, Governor, in here." "Overcrowding? How would you know? You're just in the prison." I said, "Look behind that door. All the cockroaches are all lying there."
Indeed.
And he laughed and went, "You'll no need to worry about that shortly." And I never knew what he meant for that. But I did later on, because my cell door came flying open. "Right, get yourself ready. I'm going to another prison." I ended up getting took for there. I never even knew where I was going. I just thought, fuck's sake, what other dungeon am I going to? And it was a pleasant surprise. It was a brand new prison. Belmarsh it was. And I thought, what it's all. It's like a 4-star hotel. Fucking nice and clean. No cockroaches. Well, no at that time anyway. But Pentonville was... I'll not use this term loosely, but it was a fucking shithole.
Was that?
Compared to Ballini.
And that's saying something, Paul.
Ballini. I know.
So you had a break. You had a 10-year period where you never go to jail or never done a sentence. What was your life like then, from 85 to 95?
85. I'd been in and out of prison. I never got out of the shots until 1989-90.
Oh, was it no?
Aye.
That was for after you're free?
Well, the whole chronology was I get 3 months detention, come out of detention and get 12 months. And then for the 12 months I got another 9 months. And then I get an 18 months adult prison sentence. And then I get a 3-year prison sentence. And then I get out run about 1989-90.
And then but you had a 5-year period where you never go to jail?
Aye, for 1990. Well, I was on remand. I was on remand in 1991 through to 90.
So you never had a break?
1992.
I'm just talking passion.
No. It's just something is which people would say, "How many kids have you got?" And I've got 5, and they say, "Well, why the age difference?" that's my previous convictions.
Aye.
You know, so technically this is the longest I've ever been out since I was a teenager. I've been out 18 years then, and it's something in which it's probably been the hardest thing that I'm doing. But if you're going through the chronology of the prison sentence, and then I never really had a break. It was like this revolving door or the magic elastic band that you go out and come back in. So a successful criminal doesn't get caught, do they?
So, that's 1,000,000%. I'm glad you says that.
And a lot of people turn around and think, "Oh, that's a glamorous life." Is it? You sit in, doesn't matter what prison you're in or you're getting a visit, the minute your family walk up, sit up for that table at the end of the visit and walk away, you're fucked. That's the one that just, the judge doesn't give you that sentence, you give yourself that sentence. And that's what it is. So your family goes through it as well. A lot of people say, well, you should have more thought for what you're doing, and that's probably right. But for any the younger audience that's watching it or looking towards somebody that's in the jail, always remember this: visitors walk out, they've got to get back and do their sentence, and it's not nice. I've cried a few times, I don't mind admitting that, but you get your tears dry up. End up your eyes like sandpaper and you go on it. But it's not being hard, it's just being accustomed to no showing emotions, because a lot of people, especially the screws, like to see it.
So when you went to Belmarsh, what was that like? Because that's got the reputation.
Totally different. I've heard the Belmarsh before, and I remember walking down this fucking... Glenocal's got a big corridor. They called it the Russian front. Anybody who's been in there will know, because some of them used to have to polish the fucking thing all the way down. But this one was just something else. This was a corridor that took you from one prison into the Bills, into another prison, and down to what you would call H Block 4. And the first time in there, I was just glad it's a nice tidy place, single cell, sink, toilet, food was not too bad, canteen was alright, and I like to have a puff. So I'm thinking,
was it hash in?
Aye, a bit of solid or a bit of black, and I'm thinking, how do I get a smoke? And that preoccupied me. How do you get a smoke? And while I get preoccupied, there's a Scottish screw that was in there, and they obviously look at your prison files, and I've always been on the decent jobs on the nick. Probably you get the jobs to keep the peace and different things like that, but I got offered the laundry job on the wing, and I took it, and I got introduced to my working partner, a guy called Adnan Hoshan. He was an Iraqi, but with dual nationality, with British and Iraqi nationality, and he was in for hijacking a Sudanese Airbus, hijacking it for Sudan, diverting it to Dusseldorf in Germany, and then refueling to Stansted, and then sought political asylum. And what he done it for is he was first
a terrorist.
Well, he's charged for terrorism offences. Now thinking, it doesn't look like that. It didn't act like that. A very mild mannered spoken. So as I'm getting to know him, I get to know his story. It turns out he's a West End actor on theatre. And he got money together to go and save his family in Sudan. He went over there and paid a few bribes. Apparently the family got out and they got stopped at the next checkpoint, and then the same thing happened again. So he ran out of money, ran out of patience, and I'd asked him, I was curious, I went, how did you hijack the plane? And he gave me a story about how Westerners like spicy foods, and I'm thinking, right, where the fuck's this conversation about spicy food? I went, right, and he went, but we, the people that like spicy food, liked brown sauce, HP sauce, and I'm thinking, alright, what next? He says, I used the sauce bottle, put black tape on it, held it upside down like a grenade. That's what he... And I thought, why did you have HP sauce? He went, I like it, but there's a photograph of Big Ben on it, reminds me of being safe. And I thought, what's the chances? I don't know if it's a one-off, but I don't know many airplanes or anybody that's fucking put black tape on it.
So you hijacked a plane with a brown
German
sauce
grenades.
bottle?
Aye, that's what he's done it with. And then I said to him, why did you do it? He said, the family's going to get killed. And at that time, you need to get back in politics. Saddam Hussein had invaded Kuwait, so he was a bit of a pariah in the newspapers anyway, and the media. The whole Western world was against him. So Adnan Hoshan's defence and the rest of them was to make sure that they had the duress in English law, that they wouldn't have done that if their life wasn't at risk or their family's life wasn't at risk. So he ran quite a tidy defence, and they won his case. And anybody that's looking to fact check anything, check Adnan Hoshan, the sauce bottle.
That's mad.
That's one of the characters that I met. And then during the course of Adnan telling me a story, another a Scottish boy came in, Stephen Tommy, wee Steph, wee orange guy, wee Rangers photo, and he pulled me aside and gave me some tobacco and said, "You have to go in the exercise yard tomorrow." I went, "Yeah." To see who? The IRA. I thought, the IRA? What the fuck the IRA want to see me for? So anyway, if you don't go on, you need to go.
You're a shite bag, innit?
So I'm out and exercise, and I remember vaguely another Scottish guy coming there with grey hair, and he's walking. "How you doing? My name's Paul Mick. How you doing?" And I had to say to him after the second lap, "Mick, you need to fuck off here because I might be in a bit of trouble." And he surprised me by saying, "Well, I'm with you. If you're in trouble, I'm in trouble." I went, No, you can't. You don't fight with these sort of people." He went, "Who?" I went, "It's the IRA." And he said, "It's me." He was the IRA. He was on remand for the mortar bomb attack in Heathrow Airport. And I thought, and we had a lot in common. He stayed in Lansfield Quay, I stayed in Lansfield Quay, and I remember seeing surveillance in Lansfield Quay. I thought it was for me, it's obviously for him. And then I go to the nitty gritty and I said, "Well, what can I do for that?" He said, "Could you get me hair dye?" And I thought, hair dye? I'm trying to get a fucking...
I could have gone.
I'm trying to get a couple of joints there. Fucking hair dye. And I don't want to look like a mug and said, "No, I've never been asked it." So there's always a way to get something. So I was being truthful by saying, "Leave it with me and I'll see what can be done." No blowing my own trumpet to see if it could. There's always something that can be done in jail.
Did he have a bird or something coming up? Or
no, well, what I'd asked him, but this was another fucking weird thing. I said to him, "So what colour was your hair before we were out?" And he said, "Ginger." And I thought, ginger? I ain't fucking buying hair dye. So I thought, what you do is, how long you been on remand, Mick? He said, 3 years. I said, "Why do you need to dye your hair?" He says, "I need somebody that's already identified me as the guy with the ginger hair." All right. I said, "You obviously got dye in the house." He went, "Aye, but I can get my wife to get another new bottle." I went, "Do that, because that way you know the colour. There's variations of different colour. I've never fucking dyed hair in my life, especially ginger hair." So I was called off the exercise to go up to what you call the bubble, where you get clothes that's been sent in, socks, underpants, boxers, t-shirts, tracksuits. And that's when I met another guy called Edgar Pearce, an older guy. He was called the Mardi Gras Bomber, and he was famous for putting explosives in Sainsbury's bags and leaving them back a nutcase, really. But he had the biggest pair of drawers I've ever seen, like a big massive pair of underpants. Like, even the screw was laughing, going, "Edgar, come on, look at these one." And there's a story with it, because he ended up getting that much abuse out of it. He ditched them, but they were brand new. And I thought, there's an idea. Hill walking socks. So I told Mick, the IRA boy, to get his wife to put all the hair dye in the socks, let it dry out, and then send them in along with t-shirts, boxers, and they got them. And that was the day I got elevated for the laundryman to being the laundryman and the barber. And I've never cut hair in my fucking life.
So you thought you were going to potentially the IRA want to maybe do you?
I don't know. I know. I'm not anti-politics.
And yet he's wanting a bottle of fucking hair dye.
No, I think it's because
you're the man to get stuff into the jails.
No. I think the whole position was, I'm Scottish, I'm Glaswegian, I'm one of his own type of people, sort of thing, Glaswegian. And that's just a request. That's probably his first time in the night. I'm a seasoned veteran by that time, so by the time I gets his hair dry, I need to look for a stash before I do anything. And because I'm in the laundry room, I've seen Edgar Pearce's Thunderpants lying there, and I thought, that's a cracker. So I've got a Mars bar, turned the drawers inside out and went right in, as though it's on these no white tar. Right, so that was in the laundry bag. The socks were in the laundry bag, and then at night time that was me doing my haircut, my barbing. But I get somebody who was cutting hair to get and cut Mick's hair first. Somebody on the phone to keep watch, and then somebody on the landing to prevent somebody coming up for the cell. So, and in these prison cells, you've got a sink. So when he's sitting down in the sink, I've got tepid water. There's a mirror on it, but you can't see it. So I've got this sock dipped it into the tepid water and it went fluorescent fucking orange, like high vis jacket, and I thought, that's a bit severe, going for grey to this. So I'm rubbing it in his hair, and my hands looked as though I smoked 300 fucking cigarettes a day, right? And I'll go to do his eyebrows, so I've done it, and I'm thinking, I think we're going to fall out here. We're going to fall out, and I'm getting ready for rolling about. And I went, there you go, Mick. So he's dragged his hair, jumped up, looked in the mirror, and went, fucking perfect, man. But we'd already put our name. We already put our name down for pool. And the rules are, they keep the white ball, all the rest of the balls are in there for security reasons, in case somebody puts it in a salt and whacks them, or the pool cue, somebody gets whacked with that. So you need to sign them out. And this Scottish screw was there, and he's sitting down the crossword, and he's shouting, Ferris Gallagher for pool. So I'm there anyway, I'm trying to get this fucking ginger dye off my hands. And I remember taking it still couldn't come off. So I've took the ball and I've signed for it. So I'm playing on the table with the ball, waiting for this Mick take him down. He's on the top landing, and it was like a catwalk. As soon as I've looked up, and I'm trying to look away because there's other prisoners going, look at him. It's as though it was a new guy on the wing. It wasn't. It was him. He just had his hair done. Swaggering down the fucking stairs. Gets to the desk with the screw. He's gave him the pool cue, and he's done a double take. Next thing, he's lifted the phone. The alarm bells went off. Everybody's locked up because he's changed his identity, and they never found the dye. So I had to top it up every 2 or 3 months. And I did make a throwaway comment, but I think it was took the wrong way. Maybe I've not explained it properly, but I wasn't making any disrespect towards people who have died for the cause, physically died for the cause. But after the 4th or 5th thing I said to Mick, I must be the only guy who died for the cause that many times, just because of the dye. And whether it worked for him at court, I don't know, but that was one of the funniest episodes, just seeing the screw's face and the hair dye. And I thought, fucking loads of characters in here.
Did they get sentenced, did you know?
I'm not too sure what happened. I get moved away before it, and I think he did get convicted. I'm not too sure whether the hair dye worked or not.
Belmarsh's got some heavy names in it, Paul. That's the category A, isn't it?
We were. That's kind of. It's still very secure, but there's a place called the SSU, which is a super secure unit. I was never in it. That's where you get double catty. That was in it. So not that I want to see it again or test it, but it was secure. Even the family to get visits. How that used to work was, my sister first came down. I had to get a close visit, and the cops had to. You got to put down who you want to come and visit you. The prison staff take the details, and then they put it out to the nearest local authority, who then send the local cops to the door. They take photographs to prove who she is. They send the photographs back, and then when they turn up at prison, they take the fingerprints, and that photograph should match up with the photographs that the police had took, and that's the only way you get in.
What were you doing in England?
I was visiting. No, I came down just on the chance of seeing some extended family, and genuinely that day I was going to collect some photographs with my old mate Arthur Sutty.
I've interviewed a lot of people now, Paul, as you know. Listen, I'm no daft. Some people come on the show and I go, fucking idiot, you're talking pish. But yourself, and not to blow smoke up your ass, but everybody I speak to, for the bottom of England to the top of Scotland, you're very well respected. Everybody speaks very highly of you. Why is that?
I think if you're keeping your life true to it and you're not blowing smoke up your own arse and you're keeping it real, basically, and it's not the Johnny Bravo scenario. It's just, I've never liked bullies. I don't like bullies. And if I'm asked a question, I'll answer it as best as I can. If it will hurt somebody, I'll try and amend what I've got to say so it doesn't hurt them. But there are people who are due their ears to be bashed, and I'm no one for holding back either. So you tell it how it is. People like you for it or they don't like you for it. It's just one of the things, James.
Was Big Bronson in it, Belmarsh, at the time you were there?
The strange thing about it is that the Iraqi guy that I met, Adnan Horshan, who hijacked the Sudanese Airbus, was took hostage with Charles Bronson, and I get told the whole story about that. And I said to him, Adnan, what happened with Charlie Bronson? He said, oh, he's mad. He said they bust a pillow, gave them a feather each, took his shoes and socks off and told him to tickle his feet. He's never laughed for a while because he's saying, we've just come out of one death situation, maybe hijacked and kidnapped for this crackpot. So Charlie Bronson's demand was a couple of cheeseburgers and a helicopter, and they'd wanted Adnan to fly it. And in Charlie Bronson's mind is because he's hijacked an airplane, it would then follow that he can fly a helicopter. Doesn't work like that.
Two different, separate things.
So he told him if he didn't get the cheeseburgers, he was going to start eating the hostages. Mad fucking
case. I think he might be getting it in the next year or two.
Well, I hope he does, because he's done more than some nonce fucking.
Yeah, definitely.
So he's somebody who Joey Powell used to look after him in it. He's very well got, but hopefully he gets given a chance and
gets his freedom.
So good luck to him.
You went to Phil Sutton after Belmarsh.
Yep.
What was that charge?
It was the same charge, James. It's just the move.
You're just getting ghosted.
You don't get asked to move. They just come in and move.
Why? Were you high risk?
No. For Belmarsh is a bit like Ballina. It's a holding prison. It's not a long term. It's not somewhere where you do your long term prison or your sentence rather. So they moved me from Belmarsh to Phil Sutton. And what I never knew when I arrived in Phil Sutton was I met another couple of Irish guys, but I never knew I was the subject to an internal IRA investigation in the prison, because there was a kind of spurious newspaper article saying I'd been providing loyalists with firearms and a load of bollocks, but enough to get you fucking a bit of attention. So same thing again, IRA wants to see me in the exercise yard, and then it went for there out of the football fields, and there's 3 or 4 football fields, and there's visitors changing rooms for other football teams that come in, but that's usually where all the punishments happen and all the rest of it. So that's where the kangaroo courts are. That's where things happen. And I was asked to go and attend to speak to this guy, not for me to speak, he's wanted to speak to me, and it turns out there wasn't a lot of talking I was to do a lot of listening, but in a nice way. They were nice about it, and what they had said to us is, do you realise why you're here? And I went, no, but I'm sure you're going to tell me. He went, you fucking puzzle us. We know you're not with us, which means the IRA, and we know you're not with them, which is the loyalists. And I went, right. He says, in my mind that makes you a capitalist. And I laughed, and I thought, is that good or bad? He went, well, it depends what it is. I said, is that it? He went, just about. And see, before you go, just so I'd let you know, we've got nothing to talk to do with you in here, but tell your brother we ain't forgot what he done in 1975. And I thought, fucking wow. You know, so they're intelligence gathering, they know everything, James. They know I'm not involved with them. It was to do with the machine guns and explosives. They think it's terrorism and you must be servicing somebody. The truth about it was it never.
How did your brother do?
I'm not too sure, but somebody said that he kidnapped one of the IRA or held him hostage, or there was a bomb in Wakefield prison. I don't really know. I was only a young boy, James. I was fucking 10, 11. So.
How many's in your family, Paul?
5 or 1.
You're the youngest?
No, I've got a young sister. 4 sisters.
Is it?
Oh, sorry, 3 sisters.
Franklin prison after Phil Sutton. That was a 3-year stunt. What was that for?
No, that was Franklin prison was again moved under the basis that when I took to Belmarsh and I got found guilty at the Old Bailey, they originally gave me 45 years. It was 15 years, 10 years. And I thought, fuck, I thought I was getting 10 years. I was getting the maximum anyway, James. There was no doubt about that. But I was budgeted for 10 years. And then when I heard the 15 and the rest of it, I thought, I'm 5 years out somewhere. Took a couple of steps down the stairs, and then I heard a familiar voice calling us back up. The judge had exceeded his powers. So he had to reduce it. The maximum was a 10, so I get 10, 10 and 5, and I thanked him for it.
Or on concurrent?
Or concurrent. So it was the same sentence going for Belmarsh to Phil Sutton, for Phil Sutton to Franklin. That's the same sentence.
So just all remands and then your sentence?
Aye.
What was Franklin like?
Franklin was a good player. I like Franklin. They'd ran quite a good regime there. I done my my course material there for the substance abuse, enhanced thinking skills, cognitive awareness. And it was kind of funny because I tried to enrol in the psychology course on full Sutton, and I was only 2 days into it and get moved. But Franklin don't do psychology courses. The only way they could swap it is give me a cookery course, and I thought, that's a bit of a leap, going for psychology to cookery courses. So I just got my head down, met the Manchester boys in there, and just started working away in the circuits and then playing badminton and getting myself fit.
Yeah, good badminton player.
I thought I wasn't sure I played a good badminton player. You end up doing an average of a mile, the wee dinks through the net. So I was no bad, I was average.
What kind of cats were you in with then?
I was all treble A, double A, single A.
So all high risk,
Aye.
or the psychopaths.
Aye.
What boys and that were you in with? Did you meet any pals there?
I met a couple of boys that was in there. Again, another Irish boy, Crazy we'll call him, who'd escaped to a couple of Dutch prisons, and that was him over in the UK to finish his sentence. Met a couple of Manchester boys. One of the strangest ones was when I went to Franklin. When they move you don't get told you'll move, so you can't take any food with you, and it's normal hospital situation where you go and get checked out and then back onto the wing. And there was another Scottish guy there, Grant Turnbull, and he gave me what you call a food parcel, a couple of sausages, bits of bacon, couple of eggs, bits of bread. And I thought, fuck, I'm going to make a breakfast. Talking beans and different things like that. But what I never knew was the kitchen that I'm using, they don't cook bacon in it, don't cook pork in it. It was a Muslim Yardi Rastafarian kitchen. And I met one of the Rasta boys in Belmarsh, and that kind of saved my bacon, for want of a better word, because I had the bacon under the grill pan, and I could sense a bit of tension because there was 3 or 5 of them standing. They all looked like big basketball players. Didn't matter what they were, they always looked the fucking part. And I'm thinking, I'm banging trouble here. So I put more oil in the frying pan. If that's all you had, James, there are no weapons. It's just, are you going to chase them a frying pan? Fucking aye, if you need to. Right, so, and then Zebby, a guy that I knew, a Rasta guy I knew, was in for a contract killing, called me Scottish soldier, gave us a cuddle, but he's looked over my shoulder and went, what the fuck? You get bacon under the grill. So I told him I'd wash it. I said, look, there's no hassle, I'll wash it. No, you can't wash it, you've used bacon and fucking, you just can't wash it for. I thought, right, not a problem, I'll go down and ask for a new one. And he went, no. I said, yeah, I'll go down and get a new one. He went, no. There's a screw in there called Markham. He used to do a bit of training, but I think he took me steroids because he was puffed out and he was always fucking, he was always a rah-rah. I've tried to show off to one of the female screws in there, young blonde thing. She was tidy right enough, but he was like big Charlie Potato in the castle. Now, I've seen a few screws like that, right? They don't intimidate me, James. I just want a grill pan, that's all. Like, you get the boys back. But he's sitting at his desk with 2 minders. So I've come walking down. He obviously knew who I was. They need to get intelligence reports, so they're familiar. They get showed photographs so they recognise you on the wing. So I went over and said to him, excuse me, sir. And he's went, yes, Ferris. So he knew right away. Yes, Ferris, how can we help you? I said, I'd like to get a new grill pan. He went, really? He sat back and folded his arms. He thought I'm asking for a new grill pan for me. I'm the big gangster in the jail and I've no... he said, what's wrong with it? I said, it's unclean. Never told him anything because you can't tell the story, James, because it's a racial thing, right? I said, it's unclean. He said, it's unclean. I said, why don't you clean it? I said, why don't you just get us a fucking grill pan? Because they'll be in the storeroom. In a box, take it up, put a screw in it, and then put the handle back on. And he went, what if I don't? I said, alright, bang. So I've hit the riot bell. The reason why I've hit the riot bell was because somebody more senior rank than him, like a governor, is going to come onto the wing to say what happened. So anyway, I get ruffled, threw into the cell, and they're thinking, oh, I said, I'm not even in the fucking jail an hour. I've not even got my breakfast yet, really, or my food. A short time later, door opens, everybody's locked up. door opens, the screw in Alsatian, the other ones with fucking plastic shields, some out of Judge Dredd, are all looking in, and all of a sudden the shields part like the Red Sea, and this governor appears. Right, Ferris, what's the problem? I says, there's none. Oh, what did you hit the riot bell for? I said, because that guy over there, the senior officer, Markham, whatever his domestic problems is, he shouldn't bring it into prison. He's got a terrible attitude. And if he spoke to me like that on the outside, I'd have smacked him right over the fucking head with a frying pan. He says, what about the frying pan? And I said, I never got a chance to explain to him. I went into the wrong kitchen. I've grilled some bacon in a Rastafarian kitchen. Told them I'd clean it, and they said, no, it's unclean, Paul, I'd like a new one. I said, so I'm either going to get a new one, or I'm going to have to be rolling about with these yardies. And he said, is it that serious? I went, it's only a grill pan. You must have stuff in the store. He said, so forget your grill pan, is that finished? I went, yeah. Get him on a grill pan. Shut the door. So that was a bit of a bust his bubble, that one. So I got the grill pan, gave him it back, and walking along the landing, to the Michael Jordan basketball player stepped in and went, the boss wants to see the head of the yardie crew. And I thought, yeah, here we go. So it's a cell with the curtains shut, and it's a big glow like that, James. What he's got is a cone full of weed, right, and then he's going up and the whole cell's lighting up. Not lighting up, but it's noticeable. But a Bob Marley in the background, and he's going, you know Zevy? I went, no, Zevy. He's went, yeah, thanks for the grill fan. I'm fucking stoned. I never had a puff for a while. I was fucking rocking.
Was it skunk?
I kept my food for later on, but munchied. I went back into the kitchen. A proper kitchen, right? And I'm telling people the story. They're going, oh, well, but they all loved it because they hated this Markham. He was a bit of a bully. So I ended up made my peace with them, and then they called us out to go down to the medical wing. For no other reason, James, I had psoriasis. I need to get done and get my creams. So at this occasion, Grant Turnbull, he had HIV at the time and was on his medication. He's always up and down. And a strange thing happened where he was in the waiting room. Excuse me, he's in the waiting room, and he said, Paul, watch this. He shouted in Harold Shipman. Harold Shipman's the mass fucking
murderer,
crackpot fucking killed everybody, is in the hospital wing, and what separates the cell that we're in and the medical unit and the hospital wing is just a courtyard, just a garden where they go out and sit. But Grant's shouting through the windows to him, what medication should I get? So Grant's got a fucking pen and a piece of paper, getting diagnosed with this crackpot. You wouldn't be trusting him telling you what medication to get. But the funny story was Shipman get moved because Grant Turnbull's went in and told the doctor what he should be getting, and the doctor's thinking, who the fuck's talking to him? Because they give you the non-expensive medication in there. The famous one in Berlin was all three. You get it didn't matter what was wrong with you, your leg hanging off, or fucking somebody big scarred down there, or smashed to bits. All three, paracetamol and on your way. So Grant's asking for specific medication. So Shipman get moved. So that's a kind of they were separated. They were in the non-swing.
What was it like being stoned, Paul, on the green in the jail? You know, paranoid as fuck.
Nah, that was just one of the ones. I thought, it's a fucking 5-star hotel. you've got your cooking facilities, and a strange thing happened as well. On my first day, they'll give me an application form to fill in to go back and spend the rest of my time in the Scottish prison. I've been in the Scottish prison, James. What I've recognised English prison is, I've looked at the canteen list and I thought, after the 3 pages, it's all spices and rice and whatever else. And then you get a meat section to go to butchers and buy all your stuff. And
what?
You can cook. You don't need to eat prison food. You cook your own stuff. And what you got in there is you're allowed £30 out your private cash. And then if you had a decent job, which I ended up getting, you get another 15. So you get 45 quid a week to shop. So you're buying. We had one of the deep freezers that was full with chicken breasts, fish.
Was that to keep you happy?
I think it's because you're in a long-term prison. They want to kind of make you self-sufficient. It's a luxury. The more they give you, the more you're going to lose. So if somebody kicks off, you
lose all your luxuries.
There's 3 standards. There's an enhanced where you get £30. There's a standard where you get, I don't know, you get 30 quid, you get something. And basic is just basically you get fuck all. You don't even get enough for tobacco. So this one, it's an incentive to keep your head down and go on with it. And I ended up, that's where I learned to cook. There was Chinese people in there, drug smugglers, Asian guys, so, and their mums taught them how to cook, and they teach me how to cook. So before long I'm wrapping up fucking Chinese curries, kebabs. And then a couple of Irish boys in there was making the poutine. And then because you've got a fridge freezer, you've got ice cubes.
What's poutine?
Poutine was what they used to do. This was ingenious, right? They would either use a mixture of rice and potato, and the triangle of the pool table and the snooker table always went missing, and you were allowed an iron in your cell if you were having a visit, or you're ironing your clothes, and the pots for the kitchen. So what they done with the triangle was put the iron inverted upside down in the triangle, and then put the pot on top of the iron that heats the pot up, that heats the water up. And over a weekend they used to tape all their doors so the smell wouldn't get out, and over a weekend they'd probably get about 2 litres of poutine. And there was a straw, a tube that comes out the pot that goes into a plastic bag that's the shape of a diamond, and in the bottom of the bag it just drips. So the condensation, they're taking all the alcohol out. That's the fucking dynamite, that stuff.
Don't blow your head off.
Right, so there was another pal of mine I got to meet, Kevin Lane. Catwalk Kev, he was called, right? His family. Brilliant guy. He would have been a champion boxer, but he got fitted up for a contract killing. And he came in one day and he's went, "Paul, how you doing? My name's Kevin." I went, "How you doing, Kevin?" He's went, "That one there's Jelly Night and that one there's Dynamite. You get any trouble in here, let me know." And I thought, brilliant. I said, "How do you know of me?" And he's went, "Words have been set up, Arthur Sutty, Joey File, stuff out his sock, there's fucking tobacco, phone cards, puff." And then he said, "What you doing Friday?" I thought, "Man, Nick, what am I doing Friday?" I said, "What you doing
You're
Friday?"
You're in a tenner now.
Honestly, he was funny as fuck, Kevin. I said, "What am I doing Friday?" "What you doing Friday?" "Going to the pub." "Why are you going to the pub?" I said, "What pub?" He's went, "Mine's in the cell." So he'd shut the curtains out. Kevin does his karaoke, but he's a good boxer, not that good at singing. After the Pacini sounded alright. So what you'd get is like clear bottles like that, full of Pacini, and then somebody would be sent up to get with fresh orange, and then with ice cubes, and just sit and fucking have
puffing and having a drink.
Aye, and then eating. So you work your day around, you get your job done, you go and do your education, you get your classes done, down to the gymnasium. And then Sunday was usually a long lion. So that when I say how good it was, you're still in prison. Of course. You've still got your family leaving the table. But a lot of fucking madness. Cause
aye. Try to make the most of a bad decision in it.
Aye.
So when you go out then after your 10, your last sentence, was that Durham?
No, this is all the same. This is the same one. When I got out, there was a spurious fucking claim that my girl had stabbed me, or I'd been stabbed during the thing, and I get recalled for it, or the rest of it. It's supposed to be a shipment of fucking puff and nonsense. Police intelligence reports. So
do you get a recall for that?
No, I get recall. I get told by the social services that was my licence is now revoked. It meant I'm back on Cat A, which means I'm a danger to the public. And I know what was happening, James. All they could do in Strathclyde is arrest me and take me all the way down. I didn't think I'd make that journey, because you might get banged on the basis that they're saying you try to escape. So I decided I'll go and hand myself back in. And it's a good idea. I got the guy who done the serialisation for the book, David Leslie for News of the World, Brian Anderson, the photographer. So that was my witnesses to make sure I get back done and hand myself into Durham, it was quite funny, because I've never been in Durham. There's local local cop station. So we arrived in Durham, we asked for directions. So I've got, no, it's no suited up, I'm smart enough, I've got my holder, and we're directed to this police station. It turns out not to be a police station, it's a police academy, where I've gone to hand myself in. And as we're driving in, a minibus of young people was coming in and out, and there was an older screw there who looked at me and went, in a Geordie accent, aye, son, you just missed them, they're away in the he thought it was a fucking recruit to get into the training college. And he's buzzed the door open. And I was getting up these set of stairs, and there's a big massive poster about be vigilant, be aware, terrorism is everywhere. And I thought, I think we're in the wrong place. And we're walking up into these big banqueting halls and seeing cabinets full of silverware, trophies and photographs and the rest. And I thought, no, we're in the wrong place. I'm just looking for a charge desk. And as we came out, I was like, where the fuck is this? And the same screw had said, you lost, son? I went, where is it you want to go? I said, to hand myself in. She said, what for? And I've told them. So next thing he's had his earpiece and he's come in and went, put your hold on in the middle of the car park and put your hands behind your head and step back. And I thought, I'm a danger now. Before it was letting me in everywhere. So they've all swooped in, got us, and took us to the right cop shop this time. And they're all laughing. And I remember there's an inner courtyard in there, so I'm out getting a bit of exercise. And there's a screw came up and went, do you want some of your cigarettes out? And I thought, what a change in attitude. Normally you get fuck all in Scotland, you're part of your abuse. So I went, He said, can I ask you a question? I went, depends. He says, how far did you get in the training college? And I told him, I got to the banqueting suite and all the trophies, he's went, he's run away and told everyone where I got, and it was a bit of a scandal because it breached all their security. So for there, I ended up next day, within a couple of hours, licence revoked. Took to Durham, another shithole, probably worse than Ballina. Again, right down the seg because they don't hold catty prisoners. And I was offered an inducement, and they said to us, look, we don't want to keep you in the seg, you've done most of your sentence, you're on a recall, there's a Scottish boy up there with a TV in his cell, would you want to go and banged up with him? I went, is that a coloured one? He said, of course it is. I went, go. So I've got banged up, got access to colour TV. The guy with Paul, we eat so, he was mad Rangers supporter. He knew all the crowd that I didn't get on with, and it was a truce. There's nothing happening in the nick. He was doing time for importing cannabis, and I remember the priest coming in and got a set of rosary beads, and it was like the Exorcist room. He was like, oh, fucking rosary beads, you fiend. So a bit of banter, and all of a sudden I get moved one day while he's at work, and I put the rosary beads on his pillow. I sent him a letter, and I got word, but I fucking found him after that. So it was, Durham was not as bad as Pentonville, not as bad as Ballina either, but it was a shithole.
So, going through all that then, Paul, even though you spoke in the first podcast about the coppers trying to set up and kill you, you just mentioned that there again, was it always in the back of your mind that they were going to put one in your nut?
I've experienced it personally on my own in Rossi, 1984, when they kicked the door in. There was 3 of them that was armed. It turns out only 2 of them should have been armed. So if there are 3 guns, I'm quite aware you'll remember how many guns is pointing.
The one's going to get used on you in bins.
I think so, aye. Especially in the nature. Professionally done, James. I'm not criticising anything that happened, but going out into the hallway, hands outstretched to identify, I've not got any weapons. Boom, right up in the air, face down, left hand side of the face down on the floor. This one's kneeling in my back, pushing the gun in. So I can see him. I can look that way. 6'2", snow white hair. George Dixon, his name was, and he put the gun in the back of my head and said, words to the effect, you know what this is, you little bastard, you're going to get it. And as he said that, my partner at the time, Anne-Marie, let out a massive scream. They never knew there was a female in the house. That kind of saved me, I think. And then it was paranoia. It was me thinking, well, what else are you going to think, James, if that's happening to you, right? So then when Russell Sturton told me about the approach that's been done to him, as much as I didn't want to believe it, it was just, I'm on red alert. I'm ready for anything at all. Walking, driving about with fucking guns, and I'm thinking, if they try it, I'm going to give it to them first.
Do you think the hash played a part in that as well? But
no, I never smoked, never took nothing. I was just on red alert, nothing. The only thing I did probably take is a bit of speed, just to make sure I'm on alert.
So you're buzzing at your tits, man?
No, I was just, I know what I've got to do. I've got money to go and collect. I need to go and do my business, but I'm aware of what's liable to happen. And then everything all changed, James, when I got remanded in Ballina for that particular case. And then you get the transcripts of the audio tapes that I done and Russell Sturton had done. More importantly, one Russell Sturton had done. He took out a visor out his car, cut the padding out it and put a secret tape recording in it. I think Russell had already threatened the cops at some stage anyway, so they wanted to speak to him. And ironically, what happened was it was a cop called Eric Mitchell, Detective Sergeant in Bird Street, that pulled Russell over. And Russell never got out his car, just put the window down, and this guy's leaning in, mate, just talking to this. And this is what he said to him: stop threatening police officers, Russell, because your wee pal Paul tried it once. And I can tell you here now, he was nearly wasted. He was nearly for a walk away up the Campsies one night and was never near going. And if I think you're serious about threatening police, son, you'll just be going on a night fishing trip and won't be coming back either. So Russell knows he's wired up. He just laughs and goes, I would like that. Now there I've got it in audio tape. Not me, I might be accused of a lot of things. I ain't a fucking ventriloquist. So when I'm on remand and I get this, I'm actually reading a magazine, and it's not a porn magazine, it's a magazine. I did read porn magazines, it was wrong, but this occasion I'm reading this thing about biometrics, and it's to do with access control into NASA, where they're doing away with cards and IDs, and the things that you've got to take to work is your hands and your eyes and your voice. So there's 3 levels to get in. So certain employees use their voice, everybody uses their voice to get in. The second one is the palm scanner, and then the third one is your voice, your iris, and your palm scanner. And I focused on the voice. The voice, you can get a voice graph analyst test done, because everybody's got a voice indistinguishable like a fingerprint. And I was wanting this audio tape of a serving police officer checked to make sure it is him, and he doesn't deny it. And we were teed up for getting an American expert on the voice graph analyst, and he admitted in court that was his voice. But he also said, and dismissed the whole cross-examination for Donald Finney, looked right at the jury and said, ladies and gentlemen jury, when you're dealing with severe criminals like him, the police use a procedure called bluff and counter bluff. I was only kidding. Now, I didn't know whether to fall out the dock or stand up and clap. It was a good fair play, and we blagged it. But the serious thing about it is, see if there's no training course in Tullyallen that deals with bluff and counter bluff, not only has he committed perjury, the threats were real. So that ended the paranoia.
So you do think that they were out to kill you?
Aye, without a doubt.
Do you think they've got that pulse? That what they do then? The elite?
We've done it for.
Aye.
We've done it for.
Scary that, innit?
It is, but it's an occupational hazard. Don't be going out and doing what you're doing, and don't expect them to treat you with kids.
Part and parcel of the game, do you think?
It is part and parcel of the game.
So when you get out 2002, how have you managed, a man with your reputation, to stay out the last 18 years? Was there a time you'd realised it's not for me anymore?
I did. It was very early on, and it was in Belmarsh, when I was unaware that I was under investigation with MI5 and security services or list of other agents. And it's only when I got my productions, your case file for my solicitor, I've looked through it, seen all the surveillance reports, and these witnesses never had names. It was witness A, and I had the whole fucking alphabet near enough. Witness A, 23 years, security service, bum, bum, bum. So I became aware that when you come to the attention to the level of these sort of people, you're either going to give it up or you're going away for a long, long time. So that was my motivation, to look at it and go, you never thought you come to the attention to these people. I'm going to get my head down, I'm going to go on my sentence. So when I get released on the 21st of January in 2002, I was met outside with Reg Mackay because we wrote the book by that time. But equally, there was maybe half a dozen reporters, and I told them I was going straight. They want an interview, and I said I can't. I've got to get back to Glasgow and see my social worker. I've got a time scale. I need to go and do this. And people laughed. He's going straight. Leper can't change his spots and all the rest of it. First and foremost, I ain't a Leopard and I ain't got spots. So it was a commitment to me and my family and my friends that stood by me. And more importantly, Reg gave me that belief in myself, that he believed that I intended to do it, and I did that. Just fortunate Reg wasn't here to see the whole show. But if it wasn't for Reg, I wouldn't be sitting here with you now. You know?
Do you miss him, Paul?
I missed. He was not only my partner in crime writing. He was my mentor. He was my previous social worker, a good friend, and somebody was very out. We called him the champion of lost causes because he always used to take people on that was just kind of fun, and he would take them on and give them a bit of self-esteem back, give them a bit of faith back in the system or whatever it is. But he was quite a controversial figure, Reg. And out of all the books that he wrote and things that he done, he was never credited because they said that he went native, he went too much with me, when he went professionally on what he believed in. They didn't like me, James, and I don't like them either. So it was one of these situations where Reg kind of rocked the boat as far as establishment is concerned. He's now writing books about corruption, and it's something which they see potential jurors reading stuff like that and going, whoa, and maybe sitting at a trial further down the line going, I read that book. This is what they really fucking do. Gone's the day that they get into witness boxes with their uniforms and their medallions, and they're taken as face value as a respectable witness. It's all about what can you prove. And fortunately for me, I've been very lucky, knowing the system for a young age, having the right legal team, and I've just exposed them continuously, time after time after time, and I'll still do it.
You become a thorn on the side, Paul?
Oh, no, a big jagged nettle bush,
but
a big tumbleweed rolling down the and going like, oh, that's him again. Right, so, if they were doing the job they get paid to do, that's fair enough. They were out with their remit. They supplied maybe drugs, so therefore they're a drug dealer. Don't think you can do something like that and then jump behind a warrant card and a uniform and say, aha, no, you've gave that up. You became a drug dealer. You became a gangster with guns, and that's how I viewed it. I threatened them, but I never threatened a cop. I threatened somebody who was acting a gangster.
Aye. Your biggest rivalry, Paul, was Tam McGraw. You're the biggest rivalry in Glasgow between you two at one point. How did that start?
There's no real rivalry. You can't. I knew about Tam McGraw before I met him. I knew he was a grass before I met him, and I knew I had to be careful with saying in and run about him. So, an adversary. No, for that start, not even for I met him. Might have had a lot of money, but you take away some of the stuff that he'd been involved in, like the Doyle murders, 2 innocent guys, several innocent people getting convicted at it. Tommy Campbell ended up being related to me, married my cousin. And I always felt a rerun, that misfortune. A big fucking lumpy guy like Tommy going on hunger strike, get down to 7 stone to prove his innocence, fighting his corner all the way, and then you get this slippery bastard, McGraw, the fucking snake I called him. And I did try to say it in one word, and I couldn't say it in one word, so I'll repeat it again. He's a fucking snake, and people now know what he done, and so did the coppers very early on know what he's done. So you can't have a drugs war on ice cream vans when it was fuck all to do with drugs. It was to do with ice cream vans. It was to stop people doing the runs, and it was a personal dispute. So the rivalry with McGraw, we knew what he was all about. He was a dog, and it was just one of these things where newspapers play up to it. Mr. Big this, Mr. Big that. We only tolerated him because he had a fucking pub. That was all right. Well, Joe Hanlon was working with him. So, and I moved into an area thinking I was going away for D division. I ended up going for the frying pan right into the fucking fire. But apparently mine at Tam Bagan at the time, he made sure I was alright. I'll not forget Tam for that. and all as well. So Tam doesn't like getting mentioned and things like that, but I've got to mention this and wish him well and good luck in what he's done.
Aye, the sort of papers.
Tam begging it is no Tam.
Aye, so the papers blew it up because I've had Joe Steele on and TC on. They spent over 20 years in prison for a crime they didn't commit. Seen loved ones dying while in prison.
But on that aspect, James, I know I've seen your podcast, right? You think the police intelligence gathering? Do you think they never knew? They never done it. Of course they did.
Of course they did. Aye,
but it went against how they teed up the Crown witness, Billy Love, that all of a sudden was on remand for a robbery, and they accepted the fact that he'd been identified as a fucking robber, and now all of a sudden he couldn't have been on the robbery because he's sitting in the Barge pub listening to Tommy Campbell talking about lighting the fire. So they knew, they twisted it.
Big case, man. That all these years on, the Doyle family still haven't got any closure as well.
James, it's one of the situations where Tommy Campbell and Joe Steele always maintained their integrity all the way through it, because it wasn't for them to point fingers to people and say, I never done it, they fucking done it. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I'd have let him walk about, to be honest with you, but he did. He was a I'll not keep going on about it, he's not here now anyway.
That shows you the strength of Joe and TC, two strong men.
It shows you the hold that McGraw had over his coppers, because they couldn't let him talk, because it's going to expose all the rest of them for fitting up Joe Steele and Tommy and Big Tamby and all the rest of them. Joe Granger. A lot of people were unnecessarily put through the mill with that one, and it's bad enough going to prison for something that you've done. I've never been to prison for something I've never done. I like to make that clear as well. But I don't know if I'd have been able to go to prison for something I didn't do.
It's a different ball game.
Because I would have got involved in something. I don't think I'd have got out, James. It's quite obvious I don't. I'd have probably done something in there, going to court and said, yeah, I've done that, but I never done this. That's the mentality they push you into. So.
Aye. The first podcast you were on, Tommy Robinson got a mention.
You want me to mention him again?
It blew up. No, it blew up, and if I'm honest, man, I was just starting off. I probably had the wooden spoon out because he mentioned it. There was nothing in it.
Do you know
never mentioned anything.
No, it was blown out.
$1,000,000%. It went national.
But to clarify it, I've got no ill will against Tommy Robinson. If he wanted to be running about waving Nazi flags and being more English than the English really want to be, and then getting photographs taken with the Israeli Defence Force and big tanks, I don't know where his head's at. But he's obviously wanted to do something. It's not for me. I don't know him well enough, but what I can criticise him for was a video that he done saying I'd been involved in several murders. Who is he? Trying to make light of it. And it turns out my only view was he keeps that up, his security will need security. And that was a throwaway comment. And it ended up people contacting me saying, Paul, his security's freaking out. Is there something going to happen to them? I went, no, it was just a throwaway comment. What was it about? I said, it was just a throwaway comment on a fucking podcast.
It was nothing?
No,
it was nothing.
I tell you what it was, James. He travelled all the way from England up to accost a politician. I'm not into politics. I'm no defending a politician. What I couldn't get my head around is he never the arsehole to go to Westminster to wait and John Bercow coming out, because he said the exact same thing. Saved all the train fares, or how he got up. Maybe these friendly Israelis paid for his transport. I don't know, but he's got somebody on his doorstep that he could have went, and he decided to go and get somebody coming out of a library or something like that, and accost him. So he's a bully, and that's what I said, that I was an antidote for the bullying. And and if he's listening to this one, it wasn't meant like that.
But it wasn't. You'd asked for a debate, and it's when people have jumped on it. It's got national.
He turned into a big girl's blouse and he got his knickers in a twist. That's all.
It was. I probably had the wooden spoon it, because I'm thinking it's just creating more traffic towards my channel. So
James, it's your podcast. You've got every right to ask whatever relevant questions.
Yeah, I gave him his due, but he came on the podcast after it and told his story. And
it's fair play. Yeah, everybody's entitled to their views,
of course, and their voice.
But I think he jumped on the bar. Anyway, it's done now.
Yeah, of course.
People move on, and there's no ill will. Tommy, go and do your thing.
Who was the maddest person you ever came across in your life, in prison, outside?
There's a few. There's a few, aye.
Is there?
Some I can't mention, aye, but they're that fucking mad. But I'll give you one example. James McLean, Denver. We never knew how severe his deterioration and his mental health was going. We should have, and it's a funny story, this one, but it's not something to belittle on somebody that had a mental illness. But we were asked to go and collect some money off an individual who owned a whole chain of aquariums selling tropical fish, for believe it or not, right? And some of these fish was like 1,500 quid and different things like that. And the whole rule of thumb was something like you get back and you catch somebody off guard and tell them what they're driving, where they stay, where they go, and it's just to unsettle them and they say you owe this money. First of all, you got to establish that they owe the money. Secondly, before you go anywhere, you got to make sure they've got the money before you ask them. So James went with one of our guys, another field agent, and when I got told the story when he came back, I thought, unbelievable. This guy's got the owner of the aquarium shop and he's told him where he lives, what he's driving. He's not moving, James, for the money. He's not denying the money, but he's just saying he's not going it. It wasn't that until Chamber interjected and said to him, listen, you fucker, if you don't get this money, the fish are getting it. And the guy crumbled, went and took the money out and fucking paid for it. So there is a weak spot. There he's more interested in his fish than life and limb. So James was Nearly was another one. Nearly a famous one for breaking into somebody's car, taking a spark plug and putting it right in a plastic bag full of petrol and taping it up. So when they jumped into the car, I've seen when the bonnet of this car went about fucking 200 yards right into a crowd. There is a lot of strange people. Maybe called one myself. It takes one to know one.
I don't know what I say, Paul.
It takes one to know one, but there is a lot. But again, these things happen. Right? People talk about serious and organised crime. The truth of it is serious, but there's not a lot of organisation in it sometimes. It's the newspapers that jazz it up, and it's probably the only time I'll probably agree with a police statement. I think it was Mr. Warbler, Graham Pearson, that said there's no such thing as organised crime, it's disorganised. He's right to an extent, because you have certain elements, there's certain groups of people that are associated through geography, where areas where they come from, maybe football teams, and it's not like the mafia. Mafia's serious and organised crime. They penetrated the judicial system, the banks, and that was serious and organised crime. So import the words like Godfather, Gangmaster, fucking all the rest of it. It's just a play.
Clickbait, innit?
Well, it's to pad out a story for them. Makes it a bit more
exciting.
Romantic.
Your pals with Rab Carruthers, who was very well respected in Glasgow, Manchester, a boy for the streets, and then went down and ran Manchester. How did that relationship you and?
Well, I know his brother Jim for Shotts Prison, and there was one occasion where Jim was going away to his villa in Spain and asked me if I would go down and see Rab. Rab was wanting to meet me and I was wanting to meet Rab. And I did. I intended to get down for the weekend, and normally used to drink a couple of beers, maybe a few lines of Charlie if you get too drunk. And what I remember about Rab's was he had this big goldfish full and with rubber hoses coming at it, like a bong. But I thought it was crack that they're smoking on it. Turns out it's freebase cocaine. Tried it myself and I stayed there for fucking 3 months. It's the longest time ever. But with Rab, I soon found out Rab had the biggest and best gun collection I've ever fucking seen. I can talk about it now. Rab, God rest him, is no longer here. And I want to address some of the situations, because when he died, there was a lot of newspaper articles about good riddance to bad rubbish and unnecessary. He's got family, he's done his time, he's done what he'd done. But the funny story, Rab was nuts. Rab was absolute crackers. And one of the things was he always liked Magnum ice creams. He had a heroin habit, cocaine habit, Never ever bought drugs. It was always had them, none about them. But that combination in the guns. There was one time where I was in his house, and he got one delivered, and he opened the box. He said, "What'd you think of that one, Paul?" And I've looked at this 9mm silencer, subsonic ammunition, and his phone goes, and he's got to go to the shops, right? So I'm sitting in the house going, "Ah, fuck this." And put the silencer on, put the rounds in the clip, got a phone directory, put it on the stairs, and went, "Oh, you have it." And that was a noise, and I thought, checked the phone directory right through it. So I put Yellow Pages and a couple of books. I maybe done about 3 or 4 shots before Rav came in. And anybody that's fired a gun in a house, they know they can smell the cordite, right? So Rav's going, "What have you done?" Oh, that's a bit of a fucking tool, that, Rav. And I've showed him the phone directory, Yellow Pages and the books. And he went, "Where did you aim it?" I went, "On the stairs." The shock on his face, I thought, it's as though he pulled the gun out on him. And I discovered that he had his lucky 3/4 length trench coat, leather one, for the gang days in Postal, that he had under the stairs. And he's took out, there's 3 shots through it. And he's going up his finger, I've had that since 74. And fucking.
Were you mad with it when you were shooting the gun?
No, that was just, that was there. I should have been mad with it. Should have been mad with it. No, that was the rule, Rav. We didn't take it too often during the day, until maybe Friday 1 o'clock. That was.
How hard's it, Paul, to see pals who you loved and adored and respected, to see them deteriorating through drugs in the later life?
Well, going back to the early prison sentences, I don't know if I'd have been caught up in it, James. There's a good chance I would have been. But I missed it all for the young offenders. And when I came out, some of my friends had been on heroin, the jellies, alcohol. They became untrustworthy. But I never noticed that. I still had they physically they changed. The weight loss and that voice that they've got, like sandpaper. So they became characterised. And we did try to help a few, but they didn't want to help themselves. They just got into so much of a rut that the help would have been there if it was needed. And what we always found is there's no point in giving them fucking money. So we used to take them out into the town, tracksuits, trainers, and then after a while they fucking sell them, James. They get back up and take them off and just put them in the bag, keep the receipt in case it's sad, sad, but again, it's their choice, it's their life.
How was it then coming out and totally trying to go straight? Do you still feel as if you've got a magnifying glass on you?
No, funny enough, when you're in custody for a while, there's nothing changes in prison. It's just prison's prison. Your conditions might change, but environment out here and different eras change. And I remember vividly the early 80s. The music at that time was like Pink Floyd, Dire Straits, and then get picked up after the sentence in 1990 with Nearly the Bomb and his brother, with this fucking music going boom, 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 the speakers, motor all fucking rattling. I'm going, what the fuck is that? That's the new music, that's what it is. And then you end up in a private party. Blink was there, and he was the first guy to give us an ecstasy. and I thought, is that drugs? I said, fuck, I ain't taking drugs. But it's a different kind of drug. So during the course of the night, I see people enjoying themselves, and I think, you still got that? He said, I said, geez, half it up. As soon as I've took half it, I'm tapping my feet and on it, and I've said, where's the other half? So that was my fucking introduction into it, and then all of a sudden it just took off for there.
It's mad to think and see you puffing our own green, man. If I was to smoke a joint with you, man, I would be I trip balls.
Aye.
I'm tripping.
Aye.
Oh, my mind goes overdrive.
No, I've had plenty of experience, because I used to experiment with LSD, but only in confined. I never took LSD going out, but somebody had claimed that we took LSD in a nightclub. Fucking never happened in a nightclub. No chance.
What about ayahuasca, Paul?
Do you know what? I would be up for it, James.
Because we've spoke about you coming to date with me.
But it's the same thing again, James. It needs to be in a controlled environment. Because I've been on The Wild Child with Aldous Huxley, The Doors of Perception. I replicated one of his experiments when I was in Shots, and I ended up with a big mural that I drew on the wall. It was like a caveman painting. It looked all right until the next morning. I was like, what the fuck is that?
Do you think you'd do it then?
LSD, there's something in LSD that expands the mind.
For the mind, they say that MDMA as well, Paul, and we speak quite frequently now over the last year or two, and obviously I've got to get a bit more understanding about you, and we spoke about the ayahuasca. I think it'd be a fascinating thing.
I would be up for it purely as another experiment. I took drugs experimentally, and I self-medicate, always self-medicate. Other people take their medication maybe too often and too much, but it's like finding your level, but not to be dependent. But you always need that when you get to that edge, and everybody knows when they're getting to that edge, bang, where's the parachute? Because you can't get through a lifetime of things I went through and realise that get fucking mental health issues. Everybody's got mental health issues. Just some have got them greater than others. Some people know how to put the brakes on mentally, some people don't. Substance abuse, that's what I like to call it. And it's a word. I don't like having somebody that they want to call a smackhead or a cokehead or a fucking alky. You know, it's derogatory words. You're putting people back into a box by saying that. So substance abuse, it's all to do with different substances. Even the prescription drugs. You know, somebody might have an addiction to prescription drugs and alcohol. It's a whole wide diverse, and what I've found out with the younger crews is, because I talk to them and they talk to me because they know I'm not involved in authority, they know I used to be one of them, and I discovered what a dunt is, and I said to them, can you explain that to me again? Right, we take Mad Dog 50-50, we have a couple of joints, a couple of sleepers and a couple of uppers, and maybe a bit of Charlie. I went, what, all in one go? Huh? What'd you do that for? It's some dunt. So that's what I done. They take it to the extremes. And they're heavy. And the ecstasy, fuck's sake. It's like a big catalogue.
That's a cocktail of fucking madness, that, man.
But I think that's the problem where the younger ones, they don't really realise what they're taking. There's been a few deaths involved in it, and I think it's just that they've took a risk and they've been ignorant. And I think maybe parents that don't know about substance abuse maybe want to learn. I'm hoping to get involved in some of the course material and doing that again. I'm looking to get involved in youth justice purely on the basis that I want to be a Reg Mackay type figure that was there for the lost causes, but I'll not stand for any bullshit, James. If they people want to help themselves, then I'll help them until they don't want to help themselves. I give them an incentive to go and do it. If I can do it, they can do it. I'm not different for
Yeah, everybody needs a hand, but again, you've got to want that hand.
You need to want to do it.
The
There's two key elements to it. First and foremost is you need to find out that they want to help themselves. That gives you that time. You're no wasting your time. You're not bringing academics or professionals in that you're not wasting their time. And the other thing about it is to help them constructively explain it. They might not be good at reading and writing. Their literacy and their numeracy might be affected, as well as their communication skills. So the second pillar of what we're trying to do is to form a respect contract between them and whoever comes into it. Not to swear, not to go for your head, not to be violent towards them, because these young guys and young women are volatile, and you need a safe environment. So if you're setting the standard for them, do you want to help yourself? We'll help you. If we help you, you need to respect us and the people that are coming in, because not everybody's in my lifestyle change, but you've got professional counsellors, academics, other people want to help to change. So there is an infrastructure there.
Definitely, and there's so much related to addiction, Paul, whether it's trauma, it's something that's triggered something. There's so much more to it than having an addiction.
If you look at the same elements, we've all got DNA, we've all got different fingerprints, we've all got different voices, so we've all got different problems. Okay, one size didn't fit all, but you can reasonably turn around and say, well, there's an issue here. There's an issue of self-control and self-belief. A lot of people, when they take whatever substance it is, they lose themselves. They forget who they are. And in reality, when it comes in and they try to stop, the worst thing probably people could do is go cold turkey and stop it. That's not the right thing. That's hardcore stuff. That's what you get in prison. Right into a prison cell, bang, door lock. You do more damage to them than anything else. So there's a slow progression in which there's a need to ground them back to reality, because there's an escapism for it. People don't like to see reality. They like to get drunk, they like to get stoned, they like to, and that's not just on a Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
That's every night then, that's before they want to open the door.
What do you think that for when you grew up as a boy, for in the streets to where the young boys are now? Do you think
Totally
it's changed?
different, and it's probably totally different again, James, for when my dad was there. It's evolving, and people say, the young crews just now want to let the crews back in. They said the exact same about us when we were younger. And the older crews were saying, it wasn't like us away back in the day. So how far do you take it back? You take it back on the basis of, even, see if you take it back 50 years, look at the technology you've got right now doing this interview to what they had then. The advancement of social skills and interacting with people, conversation, is gone. Too many, there's a lost generation with computer games. They're still mentally teenagers, because they've no evolved their social skills, because they're never at the fucking house. They're vampires. I used to say to some of them during the day, "What sat on your shoulder? What? Smoke coming off you? What do you mean? You're a vampire. I want to see you at night. Fuck, say what you up during the day. Oh, I'm fired up with this game." It's not that somebody switched it off. So there is a gaming addiction. There's a lot of people, the parents don't know how to handle it. Luckily, I had a gaming addiction. I used to play the kids' games first to make sure they weren't broke. They'd be like, give us a shot. So I went through most of it. So I bring to the table life experiences. And other people who I'm trying to weave into the programme have got academic experience. They've took the time and effort to go and get their accreditations through universities. And so hopefully there's a happy marriage for that one, because I always give an example and ask somebody, when would be the first time that they can recollect the country and what part they would remember for the country. And normally it's usually the smell, right? You try and read a smell in a book, you can't do it. You can read the words about it, you can describe it, but you need to smell it. And it's the same thing about life. You need to smell the reality before you can read about it. So that's why I like doing the books and doing it. When I do the interviews, James, it's hopefully educational for other people. I'm not sitting blowing my own trumpet. It's just one of these things where people are either going to like it or they don't like it. But I wouldn't want to waste an opportunity that I think I've got young kids, and I hope that when they grow up they'll see me for what I'm on, what I'm doing. And it's because I want to do it. I'm not trying to look good, I'm not trying to do nothing. It's because if I didn't like the passion, I wouldn't do it. The same with your interviews, James.
For anybody that's going through the struggle, they're now, Paul, maybe in the jail, at the jail, just coming out, struggling with addictions, maybe want to look at the life of crime and think, I want to be a gangster, what advice would you give for them?
Well, they're going to end up spending the best part of their lifetime in prison, if they're lucky. Or they're going to end up dead, or they're going to end up seeing their friends dead. They're going to put their own family through the mill. I've done it. I know exactly what it is. It's good when you get the money, James, but again, you're getting back to when you're sitting in the prison at your table and your family walk away from you. Doesn't matter how much money you put on the table, you can't buy that back. And that hits you. So the longer you're away, your family deteriorate. It's a bit like somebody having a job 4 weeks off, 4 weeks on. The relationship becomes not so much toxic, it's just the feelings get numb. And for them, they want to start out on a life of crime. It's a choice that they've got to make, and I'm not saying they're wrong in doing it, and I'm not saying they're right in doing it, because I've got no control over their thought process. But what they should think about is the enhanced thinking skills, is your aims, your goals and your objectives, where you are right now and where you want to be in life. And if people look beyond the hardships, and that is difficult, people automatically need funds to get their food, to pay your utility bills, fuel in the car, everyone's and responsibilities. Everybody's got that responsibility. Some got it greater than others, but I've got family members that have said to me, I'd rather just work, Paul. I'm happy the job that I'm doing. After a day, 5 days a week, sometimes a day, 6 days a week, I couldn't live the life that you've lived. And I'd say the exact same to them. I couldn't do what you've been doing. So it's a personal choice. And hopefully, when somebody says to you, don't go near that fire, you're going to burn your fingers, or if you're turning around having a conversation to it, you're going to burn your arse. Right? So that's what crimes are about. And people, and if you want to keep standing there and burn your arse, then there's something wrong with you. If you want to keep going to prison, which I done, revolving doors and all that, there must be something wrong. You're either not very good at it, which is a fact, or you're just being unlucky. But it was an occupational hazard. My job was being a criminal. That's what I was. That's what I gave up. And that's what I'm going straight now.
A lot of people say you're their uncle, cousin. Have you ever had any trouble, people phoning you and saying...
No, I don't mind it, James, and I'll draw the line at it. If somebody wants to use me to get out of a situation or to prevent any violence, I'm cool with it. I don't bother with it. But
so you've got the green light, mate?
No.
Have half the nation?
No, I don't agree. I wouldn't agree with somebody using my name to force something on somebody, to become a bully on somebody. Then I would act on it. But I mean, when I was growing up, people used to talk about Johnson. He was their great uncle and the dad they never had, and all the rest of the nonsense. So if it gives somebody a bit of comfort and it doesn't do any harm, I've not got a problem with it.
How does it make you feel that so many people are so interested in your story and want to listen what you've got to say? How does that, for the boy that you came for to what you're doing now?
I don't really know the answer to that one, James.
Does it feel strange?
It feels strange, aye. You get a bit humbled with it as well. But there must be something there. It's no me. It's a story. It's about events that I've done in my life and how you've come through it. Maybe people can relate to it. I'm not looking for any empathy. I'm not looking for any round of applause. It is what it is.
So plans for the future then, Paul? Listen, for people watching, there will be a part 3 the day we've just went on a different journey, which I've thoroughly enjoyed.
I never do that, James.
I'm telling you, as Uncle Paul's back for part 3. Going forward for the future now, Paul. You've done all your books, you've made your film. What's the plans for you? You going to get another book, another film, part 2?
The book, I liked writing books. It's merely a
therapeutic for you.
Reg called it the big fancy word cathartic. For boys in the street that don't know it means that you're doing all right for yourself. You feel a bit better getting it done in pen and paper. And that's what I did. I was asked to go on a scheme that's getting piloted in some of the prisons. They're doing poems and literacy and writing about things, and I've asked to kind of comment on some of the writing skills. That's good, and I enjoy doing that. I do it anyway. But there is young boys and young girls in these sort of establishments that can't read and write. So the minute they're asked to write something, they revert into themselves. So maybe there's more room for give them an opportunity either through art and recording. Because what I was interested in doing was getting somebody to do their video diary for one of the programmes that I'm doing, the treatment programmes. Showing the event that if somebody's looking at the success rate, don't believe us, don't look at the papers and do what we're doing. Here's a data stack. Go and look at the amount of people that want to do their own interviews about themselves on a daily basis and how they feel that they can do it. So I'm currently working on visual projects now. I've been asked to get involved in a few of them, but I went through a personal challenge just now with HMRC. It's liable to come out in some stage or another, so it might as well me mention it just now. And it wasn't nice getting threatened by anybody, especially government agencies like that. That could have went really wrong for me and whoever was wanting to go and come and chap the door. So I'll leave that for another interview, James, and anything else that can help with on that basis. We're looking at getting not so much a podcast on treatment, James. It's to do with having a website available for somebody who's got an issue again, kind of guaranteeing them a response within 3 hours. There's a guy that I'm working with just now called Mark Dempster. Another
Big Mark, he's been on the podcast. Good big guy.
Brilliant, very funny. But when people hear he's been an ex-addict, he knows he can smell the shite in the farm. He's got the finger on the pulse. So this is another academic that hopefully we're building things as we're going along. And again, you guys do the bit of work yourself to bring alternative entertainment like this, because it is entertainment to people. If it wasn't entertainment, you wouldn't get the viewers that you get. And it was only to thank you for your time and your hospitality again.
And likewise, Paul.
And I never knew about the third interview, but I'll be looking forward to that.
We've got to, there's so much we can touch on with you. The first one was more about your life, came through a lot of stuff, but I think people know about that now. Touched on prisons today, a few other wee topics, but the part 3 I'd like today, and we'll touch on the future, your plans to making change, talking in prisons, making documentaries.
You're going near this ayahuasca treatment.
I mean, you're going right on the ayahuasca.
If you're up for it, I'll consider it.
Just before we finish up, last question, Paul. If the Paul at this day could speak to the Paul at 18 years old, what would they tell him?
Quite a lot, but he wouldn't listen.
Aye. That's fair enough, mate. Aye.
Quite a lot, but he wouldn't listen. Hindsight's great, James, going back on it. You could talk to yourself with hindsight, but the reality is, if I wasn't going to listen to my dad, I certainly wasn't going to listen to me. But there's elements where you can look back on it and say, there's loads of things you could say to yourself back then. Would you listen is the problem? Because at no point me identifying the threshold for treatment programmes for people who want to help themselves first, if they're not prepared to listen. And I know back then I wasn't fucking for listening. And so to get an honest opinion, probably say a lot, but whether we get in one ear or not the other, probably.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. They don't listen.
The thing about it there is, James, it's a great analogy that you put up, but I think a better analogy is you've got to respect the source before you can accept the advice. And if you get somebody that you respect enough, you listen to them more than, it might not even be a family member, it might be somebody that the respect's got to be gained first, James, and depending on who's saying it, it might carry a bit more weight. So the regression, again back to your childhood and saying, if only you'd done this, if only you'd done that, it's good to remember yourself how far you came forward. You've got the same issues as growing up. I've got the same issues as growing up. You're into your 50th, your half percentage of your lifespan. I'm into my 75%. And when people tend to look back and go, here's one for you. No, for the younger ones, because they can't look back 10 years. Look back 10 years, they might only be 12, might only be 11. But for somebody who's 30 to look back to when you're 21, where did that 10 years go, James? It's fluid. So you can look and you can guarantee, with all due respect, that somebody's going to survive another 10 years, and planning that forward leap is a bit more an incentive. Don't waste your time, don't rush your time. Things will happen if you're prepared to do it. It's not going to happen at a toss of a coin or you wake up the next morning and wave a magic wand. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Patience, innit? Patience, determination, rolling your sleeves up, taking the good with the bad, and hopefully working it out, especially under these circumstances, that I understand isolation, understand the psychological issues it will cause. I've been in isolation myself, but in a different way altogether. But this is totally different for a lot of different reasons, and hopefully people can face up to the fact that everybody's got mental health issues. It's nothing to be ashamed of. But a lot of people tend to hold it in and they don't know who to talk to, they don't know what to do. This kind of brings it all out. The internet's good now for touching base. I've been on Twitter for quite a bit. I've actually quite like that. You get a lot of direct messages asking, and I do the exact same. You know, what you're doing and touching base with it. So again, it's to do with figures. It's to do with the interest that people have got, and if you can maintain somebody's interest for the benefit, again, no blowing your own trumpet or doing the big I am. Just telling it as it is, because there'll be somebody out there looking for that wee bit of nugget to go, right, that's what I forgot about. Maybe I'm going to try this. If you don't try it, you never know. Exactly. And I think everybody has got an opportunity to build their own self-esteem back up. We've all had that with our ups and downs. Some people let it go too far and it's harder to get back up, but everybody's got their own character and they'll do what they want to do, but they need to be shown certain things for other people's life without the finger waving exercise and saying you should do that. The minute you do that, people know that. So the determination for what you're doing, James, and the commitment you've got to entertaining people through your podcast is brilliant, and wish you well in the future.
I know, I really appreciate that, and for giving me the time again to come down and tell your story. You're doing me a turn as well, so but people coming on, people listening, as man, you just got to keep chipping away. Consistency is key. There's nobody in the UK works harder than me. Me and Nick here puts in a graph, so shout out to Nick, boy. We're just working, mate. Consistency is key. I don't want to keep stopping up, Paul, because I know my demons are still there every fucking day.
Everybody's got them.
I need to keep churning them out and keep progressing, because there's always somebody. People start podcasts and think it's easy. It ain't easy, and I'm glad they've started, because then they'll know how hard I work. But I believe I'm already the biggest in the UK, thanks to guests like yourself, and I'm only going to get bigger and better and stronger. My self-belief, my confidence is second to none. It's untouchable.
Well, you can't generate 20 million hits, James.
Yeah, you can. 25, but
25. All right, you've already 5 on then.
Plus years an extra 5. We're talking over 30. So that is what it is, mate. And again, Paul, for coming on today, brother, telling your story. I can't wait for part 3. We'll take it on a different journey, but thank you, brother.
Pleasure, James.
Check out more of my podcasts on the right, and be sure to like, share and comment your thoughts on this week's podcast. Thank you.